Hey, we're going to do a brief introduction or review of factorials, depending on whether or not you've seen them before. In preparation for our study of the ratio test, these will also be very important when we start talking about power series in the near future. And the basic idea, 5 factorial, that's what that exclamation point means, factorial, is just 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And in general, for any natural number n, we have that n factorial is n times n minus 1 times n minus 2, all the way down to times 3 times 2 times 1. We're going to be working a lot with expressions that involve factorials, and it's going to be important to be able to simplify them. So take a look at this one, n plus 2 factorial divided by n factorial. And if you expand it into expressions like we did above, then n plus 2 factorial is just n plus 2 times n plus 1 times n, all the way down to 3 times 2 times 1. And n factorial is n times n minus 1 times n minus 2, all the way down to 3 times 2 times 1. And you can see that there's all kinds of cancellation that happens. Both the numerator and the denominator have a factor of n, and of n minus 1, and of n minus 2, and in fact of all the terms, all the way down to the 3's and the 2's and the 1's, so that n plus 2 factorial over n factorial simplifies to n plus 2 times n plus 1. And another way to look at this is that n plus 2 factorial is n plus 2 times n plus 1 times n factorial. And so that the n factorials in the numerator and the denominator cancel, and you get the same answer that we did above, that this expression simplifies into n plus 2 times n plus 1. It probably comes as no surprise that 1 factorial is equal to 1. It's the product of all the numbers from 1 down to 1. But people often find it a little more disconcerting to hear that 0 factorial is equal to 1. One way to think of this is you can think of it as that's the definition. We define 0 factorial to be equal to 1. And why do we do that? It's because it makes everything so much easier. Another way to think of it is, well, we want 5 factorial to be 5 times 4 factorial. In fact, 5 factorial is 5 times 4 factorial. And so, by the same idea, you would want 1 factorial to be equal to 1 times 0 factorial. And the only way that's going to happen is if 0 factorial is defined to be 1. Okay, that was the blazingly fast factorial review, or factorial introduction if you hadn't seen them before. As I said, they're going to be very important in what we're about to study for the ratio test. Also very important in what we do soon with power series. We're going to see a lot of n plus 1 factorials over n factorials, so you're going to get very used to simplifying expressions like that. See you soon.